I'm assuming there's no audio on this share screen, correct, Raymond?
Well, welcome to the Rotary Club meeting for February 15th of 2023. And I am the president, Raymond Foster, and I'm glad to see all of you in here today. I think there was some problem with the sound on that, or yeah, there was no sound, but there wasn't any sound anyway. It was just music. And so they had type over, so you didn't miss anything. That was from the Rotary Foundation. So what do we got going on? We got a lot going on. Yesterday, the Chamber of Commerce had their coffee hour, and at the coffee hour, they brought every chamber member who attended brought in a donation for the food drive in March. That's a great thing, except now both Mike Wallace and I have our garages beginning to fill up with stuff, and that's not right. So if anybody has any space, let me know, because we don't want to really turn people away. We do want to educate them that the food drive officially goes down on March 11th, but we will be able to have the Masonic Lodge open as early as March 9th to receive donations. So everything's going along really well with that. So far, also, we've received quite a few monetary donations. That'll keep growing. And remember, digital donuts, buy a dozen of those Krispy Kreme donuts, and $7.50 goes to the foundation. So far, we've raised $75 that way. $75 doesn't sound like a lot, but that's about a quarter of the way to renting a truck. So that's pretty cool. So keep buying donuts and eating donuts. So let's go around and see who's here so far early in. And Mike, you're first up. I see you. How are you today, Mike?
I'm doing great. And I just want it acknowledged that my name was associated with early because I have a problem getting anywhere on time. But no, I appreciate that. I am the president of Better Home Financial Mortgage Brokerage in downtown San Dimas. I've been a Rotarian for coming up on 8 years now, past president, past treasurer, and I'm happy to be here serving the community.
Excellent. Mike, Steve, how about you, buddy?
Everyone, Steve Scott, been a Rotarian for 13 plus years, past president, current secretary, past treasurer, future president. Mike, you can go ahead and throw future treasurer back on, or at least de facto treasurer on your title. I am a State Farm agent in San Dimas, and I'm happy to be here.
Excellent. How about you, Marianne?
I'm Marianne Kistler. I've been in Rotary, I want to say 25 years or more. And I am currently the foundation chair, and I love Rotary.
You know, I was on DAC-DB yesterday, and I was looking at my start date in Rotary. Now, you know, I took about an 2 year break, but it has a start date of 2003. That's 20 years ago, Marianne. So you've been in Rotary a little bit longer than 25 years.
Probably so.
You were one of the great members when I started. So I'm not going to let you get away too much with that.
Thank you.
Joining us is Casey.
Hey guys, welcome. Hey Jack, it's good to see you.
Good to see you too. Nice.
Glad to hear where you're updating. Been a Rotary member for a little over a decade. I mean, as you hear about how long has it been, that's hard to believe. Done a bunch of things, touched a good events, and continuing to push things forward.
Excellent. So we're going to go right to our speaker now. But before we go, I'll tell the story after a speaker. So we have with us today Jack Mercia, who was kind enough to invite me to speak before his group. I ran over on my time, but Jack is a professional Toastmaster, and I am convinced that he will not run over on his. Jack Mercia is a retired financial advisor. He's been involved with Toastmasters for 35 years. Jack holds 2 Distinguished Toastmaster awards, the highest communication award that Toastmasters has to offer. Jack served as the area director 5 times and once as a president's Distinguished Division Director for Toastmasters. He is the vice president of membership for the club that he personally founded in 2017 called Faithful Voices. Please welcome Distinguished Toastmaster Jack Mercia.
Thank you, Raymond. I love it. I think I could have written that myself. Oh, that's right. I did write that, didn't I? Great. Great introduction. Great introduction. I don't know how much many of you know about Toastmasters. It's really a mixed bag. You ask people, have you ever heard of Toastmasters? They either haven't heard of it, or if they have heard of it, maybe they were involved at one time or another in a meeting, or maybe they have a completely total misconception as to what it is. But just to kind of bring it up to light, it started as a single club, one single club. And it started October 22nd, 1924 by Ralph C. Smedley. Now, that one club, and it was at the YMCA in Santa Ana, that's where it originated. That one club now has over 4 million people have experienced Toastmasters. There are over 280,000 members in 144 countries with 14,700 clubs. And next year, we'll actually be celebrating our 100th anniversary, as you may be able to do some numbers there. So what I'd like to do is just to start off, I'm going to share a little bit of a video that takes you into a Toastmaster meeting, so there won't be any misconceptions as to what it is. Can you help me to share that screen, Raymond?
You're good to go. Go ahead and share from you.
Okay, let me see what I can do and get that up there. Okay, here it is. Can everybody see this screen? I have to share first. Hold on. Let's see if that's working. I'm not sure how to do this. Let's say start. Can everybody see my screen?
Not yet.
Okay, I said share. Am I doing something wrong?
Well, once you share, a dialog box should open up on the screen.
Yeah.
And then you pick the screen you want to share and click it.
Oh. It says embedded, Twitter, WhatsApp, Facebook, email. What do you think?
No, you should have it should show different, select a window. It should say select a window.
Copy, YouTube.
No. So when you click these, is there an X box or an X?
If
Yes,
Jack,
I could click the Xbox.
if you don't have it open on your computer, then it doesn't show up to share. So
It's open in my computer.
Okay.
And I'm clicking the word share. And it's giving me several options: embedded, Twitter, WhatsApp, Facebook, email, KO Talk.
No, that's
Well, I'll tell you what, if you want, I'll give you the YouTube video and you can share it. You want to do that?
sure. What's the video?
Okay, here we go. It's let me see, what is it back here again? Toastmasters.org/about.
Okay, let's see if we can find it here real quick. Toastmasters, what is it? Toastmasters, it's on YouTube.
.org
Oh.
share about.
Okay.
And then if you scroll down, you'll see a video.
There we are.
You see it?
Hello, I'm Stacy.
That's
Thank you
it.
for visiting Toastmasters International, where more than 4 million people have
Let me get
become
it
more
over there for
confident
you.
speakers and leaders. They did so by visiting a Toastmasters club in their company or community. When you visit a club,
Let me get it up for everybody.
Okay, you got it there. You got the right one.
I know it. Yeah, I just got to get it. I guess got to get to it. Well, it's about the best I can do, I guess. All right. Let's see. Well, I had it a moment ago.
Yeah. Well, even if we just heard the voice, it would be fine.
I think I can get this down.
Hello, I'm Stacy. Thanks for visiting Toastmasters International, where more than 4 million people have become more confident speakers and leaders. They did so by visiting a Toastmasters club in their company or community. When you visit a club, you'll find 3 things. Members give speeches, they take on meeting roles, and they have a great time learning. There's no designated teacher in a Toastmasters meeting. Instead, much of the learning happens by doing a particular task, such as giving a formal speech or fulfilling a particular meeting role. Ready to visit a club? It's free, and you can find one near you on the Toastmasters website at www.toastmasters.org. The purpose of the meeting roles is to help the members improve their speaking and leadership skills by providing feedback and evaluation. There are 7 different meeting roles: Toastmaster of the Day, Awe Counter, Grammarian, Timer, Evaluator, Table Topics Master, and General Evaluator. Every meeting is started by the club president, who introduces the Toastmaster of the Day. The Toastmaster of the Day is the host of the meeting. Fulfilling this role is great practice for leading meetings. The Toastmaster begins by introducing people who will fill other meeting roles for the day. He or she acts like an MC and keeps the meeting flowing smoothly and on time. Many clubs use an awe counter to document the number of filler words members use while speaking. At the end of each meeting, the awe counter reports how many ahs, and other similar words each speaker used. This helps members become more aware of unintended words or sounds they make when they speak. The grammarian helps members expand their vocabularies. One of the grammarian's duties is to provide a word of the day and its definition. If a member uses the word of the day or says something well, the grammarian calls attention to it. As the name implies, the timer records the exact length of each speech. He or she also uses timing lights to help speakers stay within their allocated time limits. The general evaluator takes notes throughout the meeting and reports back to everyone, giving specific feedback on how well the meeting flowed and also on how future meetings might be improved. The general evaluator also calls for reports by the awe counter, grammarian, and timer. In every club meeting, there are at least 2 members who present speeches. These speakers don't just stand up and start talking. They use the guidelines in their designated education manuals to prepare their presentations and reach the objectives for each speech. Every speaker who has prepared speeches in advance enjoys one of Toastmasters' greatest benefits: evaluation. Think of it as having a friend watch you practice a speech and then give you helpful feedback. The speaker usually meets with an evaluator before the meeting and asks the evaluator to pay attention to certain aspects of the talk. After all the speeches are done, the evaluators present their feedback in front of the club, covering areas such as, did the speakers use their hands to gesture well? Did they control their voices throughout the speeches? What did they do especially well, and what are some ideas for improvement? In addition to prepared speeches, a few minutes are set aside for table topics. This is often the most challenging, but also the most fun part of our meetings. During table topics, a series of questions or speaking topics are presented, and members are selected to respond on the spot. This is excellent training for those situations that come up in everyone's lives, where we have to think fast and say just the right thing. It might be a job interview, a sales meeting, or a dinner conversation. Table topics are great for practicing and honing the skills of impromptu speaking. Now that all the reports have been made, the president calls the meeting to a close. Everyone joins Toastmasters with a personal goal. Maybe it's a goal to become a more confident presenter, or learn how to run a meeting, or think faster on your feet. Whatever it is, you can achieve your goal if you participate. So, what's your goal? For more information on the club experience, please visit a Toastmasters club. To learn more about how you can become a better speaker and leader, visit www.toastmasters.org. To find a Toastmasters meeting near you, visit the Find a Club section at www.toastmasters.org.
Thank you very much, Raymond, for getting that working for us. I think with seeing that, it actually takes you into a meeting. And there, it would clear up any misconceptions about what Toastmasters is all about and what we do. So you have to ask yourself, first of all, it's not something to compete with any other club. Toastmasters is there to help you do better in whatever club or community service or religious or church service you're involved with, whether it's government or whatever, school. It will help you to perform better on those particular platforms. So let me enumerate, for instance, why would you want to invest any time in a program like Toastmasters? And let me give you some examples as to why you might want to do that. First of all, you may say, well, you know, I have some great ideas, but I need a platform to share those ideas. Now, we have a lot of things going on in our environment right now, a lot of things between, well, the earthquake, between police and between the border crisis and the homeless situation. There's so many things going on, and we have ideas that we would love to share, but we need a platform to share them on. And Toastmasters will give you that platform. It will help you express those ideas. Another reason is you may feel intimidated with public speaking. Some people do. Some people do. I was involved with speaking prior to joining Toastmasters 36 years ago. I was, believe it or not, a Weight Watcher leader, so you'd be leading Weight Watcher meetings. But that's not the reason I joined. I joined for the intellectual stimulation, and maybe some of you are relishing that. We really want intellectual stimulation of what's going on in your environment and hearing from people in all different walks of life. So you may not be intimidated, but you do want to be more effective. Whatever you're doing, whether it's in church or in a civic organization or even a place like the Rotary where you need to address some people, you want to make sure that you can be effective. Even though you may not be afraid, if you're not effective, it's not very satisfying. You may want clarity and boldness in expressing your views unapologetically. Toastmasters will help you to do that. That's not something that we want to shy away from. We need to be able to have good, strong voices to bring about a diversity of opinions in our culture. And it's not a one person knows everything, because we all have something to share. And we want to make sure that we have everyone's expertise in everyone's area of experience to be able to share that, and having good communication skills will help with that. So you want the experience of, perhaps you want great leadership skills. Where can you make a positive difference in people's lives? Now, many of you know people that are really good. I'm sorry, it looks like I'm getting a little dark on the screen, but maybe it's the clouds outside. So you have good, you know, people with good qualities, and you want to create and help them and nourish them to become good leaders, because you know they could really make a big difference in your community. This is a great way to do that, because not only teaches you communication skills, you do learn leadership skills. I mentioned some of the areas that I worked at as area director. I founded the club. I was a division director, and this will give you that experience. You may want to broaden your information network and learn from others with different occupational and cultural backgrounds. You can have that with Toastmasters. You can be able to hear from people in different cultures, different occupational backgrounds. In fact, the next speech that I'm giving at my Toastmaster Club, I'm going to be lending from my own financial advisory experience and helping the attendees to be able to grow their assets more by the experience that I've had, and not only in what I've done, but also in what I'm continuing to do. Although I am retired, I just do this for no cost at all, obviously, just to make sure that people do understand the best way to manage some of their finances that they may have a difficulty with. So, well, you may want to have the opportunity, if you're in business, to network some of your business skills. And a lot of people in Toastmasters do that. That we have realtors, we have people from all walks of life that come and share some of their business experience and help each other and create a good network. So it's hard to imagine that all of this information and all of this opportunity is available for only $45 semi-annually after a one-time $20 lifetime membership fee. All of that. My particular club was founded and started by me in 2018, and it's called Faithful Voices. It is a Catholic Christian-based club, but all faith persuasions are welcome to join, and we certainly would welcome you. There are many other clubs that are non-sectarian clubs that have different kind of niches regarding their particular club that is open to you, and you can check those out. Some meet only virtually, some meet in person, some meet as a hybrid, and some meet only all in person. So you have your choices about which club that you would be most interested in. Our club particularly meets twice monthly on the first Friday evening of each month at 7 p.m. And it's at St. Louis de Marillac Church campus in Covina. And on the third Friday, which is coming up this particular Friday, which you're welcome to virtually join in, we meet at 7 p.m. So my only invitation to you is, if there is an interest in visiting the club, I will put in the chat box my phone number. You're more than welcome to call me, and you can learn more about Toastmasters on your own by visiting toastmasters.org. That completes my speech, and I just have one question is, do you have any questions? Anybody have any questions?
So, yeah, I got a couple of questions for
Sure.
you, Jack. I did attend your Faithful Voices. One of the things that I like about the Toastmasters is that each of the clubs is kind of designed a little bit differently around like a different organization or theme. If I were looking into it, how would somebody peruse and find like the theme for them?
Well, one thing you can do is just go to toastmasters.org, and there's a place there that says find a club. One of the things that are, or at least previously, were most important to people is to find a club in their area. For instance, if there's a club that's in your area and it meets on Wednesday night, but you can't do it Wednesday night because you have another function you need to be at, then you need to look for something that meets maybe on Thursday night, or meets in the afternoon because you're free in the afternoon, but you're not free in the evening. So you want to have something with good logistics. Once you know that, then you can look around for different clubs that may tell you, look for exactly what you're looking for. And it will give you that. And there's always the phone number for Toastmasters International. They're more than happy to direct you to a club that will suit your needs.
Are there any other questions? Because
I have a quick question. Just as far as what you get out of Toastmasters, the feedback, the public speaking, the engagement. Have you seen any difference in quality from in person compared to Zoom or online?
That's really an interesting question, because the only time we really started Zoom was when COVID became prevalent. And I personally like the in-person. There are some advantages and disadvantages. The advantages are we can have people from all over the globe to participate virtually, whereas in person, obviously, that's not possible. The other advantage in the virtual meetings is that, well, as an example, when you're out there, especially giving a speech for an international speech contest, the one thing you cannot use is notes. You can't have any notes. But when you're doing it virtually, you can. However, you lose something when you're not able to. So I do both. I do both in person and virtual. And in person, you learn a lot more professional skills, because you need to work the room. You need to be able to look around and space around and keep yourself moving. I don't want to be stuck behind the lectern. That's not going to help me. I got to get out in the audience, and I got to be able to speak to them eyeball to eyeball. So that's some of the differences that I see. Any other questions?
So actually two more questions for you. The first is that does Toastmasters still do like the different competitions, inter-club competitions and district and things like that?
Yes, they do. They have once a year, they have the area contests, and they see the districts and the areas are broken up into kind of like a cascading way in a pyramid style. You have the clubs, and maybe 3 or 4 clubs will belong to one particular area. Another 3 or 4 clubs in another area. So you have different areas. So the areas will compete against each other. The winner of the area will move up to the division contest. Mm-hmm. The division contest has all these different areas competing against each other. Then once you finish it and you win the division contest, first place, second place, etc., Then you move on to the district contest. And the district contest has all these different divisions. So there are large divisions there. Right now I'm in District 100. So those are gathered together, and then the winner of the district contest has the ability to go to the international speech contest. And that's how it's done every year all over the world. All the international speech contests has the district winners and regional winners come together, and they choose the 10 top winners after they weed them all out. And those 10 compete for World Championship of Public Speaking. And that's done every year. In fact, if you go to YouTube and you put World Champion of Public Speaking on a particular date or year, you'll be able to see some of those speeches. And you cannot use notes. It's only 5 to 7 minutes, believe it or not, but it's very powerful.
So last is, I know that you've done some of the virtual because we were all forced to by COVID, but I see now that a lot of organizations are maintaining at least partially this Zoom communication for meetings. And I don't wonder that there are different skill sets from when you're working a room and you got a space, and here I got a really defined space.
Exactly.
There's just, it seems to me to be different rules that we have. I know sometimes, like, if you're really not going to pay attention and you're really going to zone out, you've got to do this. You got to just take yourself out, because you can see everything I'm doing. Normally, if you're in a crowd, like you're sitting in a big banquet room and you decide to pick your nose, nobody knows. But here it's like everybody's watching you.
Yeah, that's true. That's very, very true.
Like,
and it's harder to create eye contact with everyone when you're on virtual compared to when you're in a room. So there are definitely advantages of being person to person, but I think we found a lot of other advantages in being virtual that we did not want to give up. So that's why many of the clubs are doing both. Like, for instance, we do both physical and virtual twice a month. And some of them are doing hybrid. A lot of them are actually doing hybrid.
very cool. Yes, that's the Satellite Rotary Club is doing a hybrid meeting in the evenings, and I really like the way it's working out for them. Steve, do you have a question, brother?
Nope.
I saw you unmute yourself. I thought you're jumping. Anybody else? Well, thank you so much, Jack, for attending.
You're welcome. I appreciate your inviting me in to extol the virtues of Toastmasters, and I welcome you to, I'll put my phone number in the chat box. And if anybody is interested in getting more information, you can call me, or you can call Toastmasters directly. By the way, I am more interested in you becoming and getting the advantages of Toastmasters. I'd love for you to be in my personal club, but that's secondary to making sure that this is available to you. So if my club is not convenient to you time-wise or location-wise, just look into it for yourself, because I think it brings you immeasurable opportunities.
Yeah, so and I was a Toastmaster in the early 90s, in fact, vice president of a club for a couple of years. So I know that it is very beneficial, and it's a highly structured meeting, unlike us. We're not very structured. So Jack, you're welcome to hang out. We're going to kind of go through the rest of our meeting as we float through.
I'll hang out a little bit longer. I got to put some light on because I fell into the dark over here with the clouds going out.
That's
okay. Thank you again. I'll be right back.
Okay, so let's go straight over to our fine master, Casey. What do you got for us today, brother? He's looking for the unmute section on his. There it is.
There we go. What do I got for you? I think we're going to find everybody who's not here first, and then send them an accounting for what they owe. So in that element, I celebrate those who are here. In our fines, we get to fine ourselves for anything that's not fine that we want to complain about, or tell us just how fine our life is. Who would like to talk about what's fine?
I'll go first, Casey.
Go for it.
Based on Raymond and Marianne's conversation at the beginning, I did some detective work to find out that Marianne actually became a Rotarian on January 1st, 1993. So she just hit 30 years. So in celebration of that, I will fine myself $30.
Thank you, Steve.
You're welcome.
Well, congratulations, Marianne. And that's like somebody figuring out what your real birthday is. Wants to tell a lie.
Oh, I can say that one too. We got that one.
All right, $30 fine. Excellent. Keep going, Casey. That's good.
Okay, we're moving it along, and anybody else want to add to that and celebrate it, something that's fine or not fine?
Well, 30 years ago, I was in my 8th grade year at Lone Hill Middle School.
You're a baby.
To put that into context of how long Marianne has been a Rotarian, so thank you for your service. But I'm going to find myself $10 because I'm fine because I was early.
Indeed. Most impressive. I appreciate that. I do appreciate that.
You may have gone to school with my children. They went to Lone Hill Middle School as well. Yeah, I think it was, God, I guess it was in the late 80s. They went to the middle school, yeah.
I'm afraid, Mike, that you went to middle school with my children. They were, the older ones were actually at Ramona, though. So I guess, and they were 93, 94, they were at Ramona. So just barely missed them.
Yeah, I started high school 94, 95 at San Dimas.
Oh my goodness. My goodness.
We're just bouncing dates around. Anybody else want to?
Now I'm just depressed.
Well, thank you, Mr. Finemaster. So let's go to Action 360. First off, foundation. Man, you remember we got our tax exempt status on December 21st, 2021, which means we had to file 10 days worth of taxes for that year, which Barbara did. And then they bounced it out, said we can't e-file because we're not in the system. She tried several times. Finally, we did paper taxes and sent them in August of last year. They sent those back to us about a month ago and said, or about a week ago, and said, you can't do paper taxes. You have to do it online. Here's all your documents back. Thank you. Nice try. So Barbara went up online and tried again, and it got rejected because we're not in the system. And now I am spending time in the morning on phone calls with the IRS.
Good luck.
Yeah, it's not about the phone call is not as bad as when you're calling about yourself. When you're calling about yourself, some extra stress involved. But when you're calling about something else, it's just a real pain in the butt. So that's what the foundation status is. I don't know why we're not in their 990 e-filing. I suspect that it's because they don't have the employees to do the data input. That's what I think.
That's exactly right.
That's true.
They have gotten better. I've been trying to clear up some misapplied payments with the IRS for about 18 months now. For a year, I couldn't get through. If I got through, I got put on hold. And after an hour of hold, it kicks you out of line and hangs up on you.
Yes.
So now you can get through now. But yeah, it's still, you get one person, you get one answer, they say they have it fixed, and then a month later you get a letter saying it wasn't fixed. Yes,
I'm actually having those experiences personally also on a minor matter. So yes, it's amazing. Anyway, I'm working on it. The foundation's still there. Foundation's got plenty of money. We're doing really well because for the food drive, we're getting checks are coming in from people and we're doing very well. So I guess at some point they'll be coming to us. The next, I have a question for everybody. I'd like to throw it out there. I was asked yesterday. The chamber coffee hour was very well attended, and there were people there that I had not seen before. Normally, when you go to these functions, it's the usual suspects lineup that goes on, but there were probably half a dozen people who weren't usual suspects. And Sylvia asked, would the Rotary like to host a coffee hour in the morning? And it would, of course, be at the chamber offices, but it would be us hosting it. If we do, I would like Rotarians to be there. I don't want to be the lone scout at a thing. So, if you
The
guys,
Lone Ranger.
yeah, I would. I think it's a great idea. I attend all these because I committed to doing anyway on the board. If you guys want to have this thing, and then I don't know, we pick one of these mornings, 8:30 in the morning to 8:45. And by the way, we took a nice gift. We took a basket with wine and all these snacks from the country of Brazil in it. And so it was Margie Green won it and then said she's on a diet, so she gave it back, and we're going to raffle it again at the Chamber Mixer on Thursday night. So if you want to see what a nice gift the Rotary gave, you can see there. I'm still trying to get rid of the wine from the district conference last year, because if anybody like a half open, these giant bottles of tequila and whiskey, they're about 3/4 consumed. If you are 3/4 available, I have them here. I don't need them. So
I'd be interested in some of that.
tell you what, I'll bring it by your office, buddy.
Okay. All right.
You went with me, Mike.
Yeah, this place will look like Mad Men. I'll just have bottles all over it.
So let me know if you want to do the coffee hour. That's my question. Call me, email me, or anybody have any thoughts right now?
Just a quick thought is as we did our finds, I'm finding those who aren't here that it's, jokingly, we've been a little bit thin in this season on, maybe that's not so bad to be thin. Everybody can enjoy a little thin, but we've been thin on attendance in ways that we haven't in the past. So I'm not sure if it's just because the satellite club is off and running and doing better. So there's not a flow of 3 to 4 people from the club, but what's the, Raymond, what's your read on that as we try to represent, if you're asking the 4 of us, can we show up at a chamber event, or are we asking 25 people to show up at a chamber event?
It would be asking 25. If we did that, then I know that, obviously Sylvia would be there. I think Chris would be there. Chris simply can't make Wednesdays because of what's going on with the city. It's difficult for the 2 teachers in the group to carve out this time in the middle of the day to attend the Rotary meetings. I know that we are light in these attendance, and that's why I think we need to focus in on getting membership. 5 or 6 more members that attended these things would be nice, but the members that we have, it's not a lack of interest. It's just their schedules. I talked to each and every one of them. The only one I want to talk to after we close out the meeting and ditch the guest is the one I want to talk about that I'm not sure of. But everybody else, it's a serious scheduling issue. That's why I brought up the conversation about changing the date and time. But I think the consensus is if we change the date and time, it just adds problems to other people.
I have a question and a comment, just related to. I know the specific ask was, do we want to do a coffee hour? But prior to the food drive, would it be possible to do a mixer after hours and do it at High Point and have people bring canned food? Because I think that was a big part of why yesterday was so well attended, was because it tied into veteran families, and I think if we did that more in an after hours setting, it would be better attended than the Rotary doing a coffee hour at the chamber.
I'll tell you what, Mike, would you reach out to Dominic and get a date? I
already spoke with Dominic about doing some like a kickoff party or something. He's all on board, but knowing Dominic, we just need to get something on the calendar. Otherwise, it will be, we should do that. Yeah, we should do that. And then
never gets done.
He'll be here.
Let's do this. All right. Okay. We have a board meeting on March 8th, but on March 9th, the lodge is available on Thursday. So why don't we make the kickoff March 9th? The lodge will be available 9 to anytime. I've got a volunteer slots that I'll be putting up. And then we could make March 9th and it'd be a chamber sponsored kickoff. The only piece we need is Sylvia, and then she would put it out to chamber members.
And I'll be there, and I could bring my truck, and we could load it up and drop it off at the lodge on the way out.
Okay. I will call Sylvia right after the meeting. How's everybody feel about that?
Great idea.
Okay. Thank you very much, Jack. I'm going to
thank you very much.
Raymond, I don't think that negates or replaces the concept of doing the coffee hour with the chamber, just throwing it out there. I think it's better to do the coffee hour with the chamber coffee hour at one of our local businesses.